Every day, about 1,500 flights go from the US to Europe, and most of them use only this special route over the Atlantic Ocean. Sideways, their distance is 30 kilometers, while at altitude, they are only 1,000 feet above and below each other, i.e. about 305 meters. You must have experienced it yourself or must have seen a video in which multiple ships are very close to each other in the sky. This is especially seen in flights from the US to Europe, in which this invisible highway is used. But the question is, when the whole sky is empty, why do pilots stay close to each other and use only this special route in extremely risky situations? In 1920, a Japanese meteorologist named Wasaburo Oishi sent several weather balloons in the sky for research purposes. He noticed that at an altitude of 30,000 to 40,000 feet, there is an invisible force in the sky that takes the balloons to the east at an extremely fast rate. In April 1945, 6 friends went on a picnic to the American state of Oregon, where they saw a very large balloon lying in the jungle. They got excited and pulled it, but they didn't know what danger it was actually going to take. There was a bomb in that balloon that exploded as it shook and 6 friends lost their lives. There were many more such incidents in the US. When the investigation was carried out, it was found that these balloons were launched by Japan across the Pacific Ocean 10,000 kilometers away. Not just 2 or 4, but Japan had launched about 9,000 balloon bombs, of which 300 landed in the US. Japan took advantage of Wasaburo Oishi's research and launched these balloons, which reached the US in high winds. Since then, this tunnel of high winds at an altitude of 30,000 to 40,000 feet is called jet streams. These winds travel to the east at a maximum speed of 250 kilometers per hour for almost a year. They have also been noticed in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere. Surprisingly, they do not have a fixed location. Scientists believe that these high winds are caused by the temperature difference between the poles and the equator. When the hot air of the equator travels towards the pole, jet streams are formed. But if the wind travels from the equator to the North Pole, it should go from south to north. But why do these jet streams travel from west to east? The biggest reason for this is the rotation of the Earth. Our Earth is rotating anti-clockwise from west to east at a speed of about 1,600 kilometers per hour. In the northern and southern hemispheres, these high winds should travel towards the poles, but the rotation of the Earth is forcing them to travel from west to east. Now let's come to our main question: why do 1,500 ships use only one path a day to travel from the US to Europe over the Atlantic Ocean? Just as there are jet streams in the Pacific Ocean, jet streams are also present in the Atlantic Ocean during the journey from the US to Europe. During the journey, the pilots deliberately took the ship into the jet stream because the winds of 250 kilometers per hour pushed the ship forward. This increased the speed of the ship, reduced turbulence, and obviously saved a lot of fuel. Similarly, if you had to go back to the US from Europe, then the pilots would use any other route, but they would stay away from the jet stream. Because now these winds were in the opposite direction, which had a reverse effect on the ship. Time passed and the airline industry grew rapidly. Now all the pilots started using jet streams to go east. But the biggest problem was the increasing traffic in the jet streams, which could cause accidents. This work was done by the air traffic controller, i.e. ATC, to make a route plan for the flights according to the weather so that no ship collides with each other in the jet streams. We all know that the radars on the air traffic control tower detect the location of the ships. But the problem is that the range of these radars is not that much. They can detect the position of ships within a range of 128 kilometers at most. Imagine that the radar range of the New York ATC is only as much as the Circle, which has a radius of 128 kilometers. As soon as the ship leaves the Circle, it disappears from the radar range. The ocean is spread over thousands of kilometers. The ships that take off on the ocean send their position to the control tower every 14 minutes via satellite or high radio frequency. But any accident can occur in these 14 minutes. That's why a new system was introduced in 1965. It is called the Northern Atlantic Organized Track System, or NAT-OTS. Multiple road paths were made for flights to America and Europe in this system. These are controlled by 4 main centers in the Atlantic Ocean. First is the New York Station, which controls this region. Second is Canada's Canada-Newfoundland, which controls this region. Santa Maria Oceanic Control controls this region and the Shinwick northern part. NAT-OTS has a total of 6 routes, whose names range from NAT-A to NAT-F. Pilots are allocated one of these routes before takeoff, or during the flight. If there is more traffic on a route, they are shifted from one route to another. These routes are specially made so that traffic splits and the ships going to Europe can get tailwind. Tailwind is what comes from behind the ship and pushes it. To make these routes more efficient, jet streams are located twice a day with the help of weather satellites. And then the routes are optimized accordingly. As you can see on this live wind map, on the left is USA, on the right is Europe, and in the middle is the Atlantic Ocean. At sea level, the wind speed in the center of the Atlantic Ocean is 22 kilometers per hour. This whole white portion you see is actually a jet stream which is spreading from USA to Europe. So that if the location of the plane is not updated to ATS for 5 or 10 minutes, the autopilot system of the plane can maintain its speed, altitude and latitude according to the condition of the routes of NAT-OTS. To confirm this, let's turn to the live plane tracker. Viewers, I have tried my best to explain this concept in simple words. I hope you have understood this small video of ZemTV. Thank you so much for your loving comments. See you in the next video.